Good morning. I'm Rachel Jackson with Yum Healing Arts, and I wanted to hop on here and give you a quick video. This is an aromatherapy video for recovering from trauma. I recently took a class, a craniosacral class, that was focused on trauma and PTSD, and so I learned some things in that class with Jimmy G, and I took that class at the Advanced Massage Arts and Education in Tempe, Arizona. And one of the things that the instructor was talking about was how our body will, when we go through a triggering event, our body will produce stress hormones, and some of those stress hormones can stay in the bloodstream for up to 30 days. And what that can do for the nervous system is that it keeps that fight or flight response kind of on the surface, and our nervous system might be more sensitive during that time to another event or to another trigger, and leading to sort of a cascading trauma perpetuates trauma kind of experience. So I was starting to think of some essential oils that could be useful if you go through something traumatic. And I recently quoted Asia Suler from her book, Mirrors in the Earth. If you haven't read it, it's amazing. But she wrote, she was sharing that a definition of trauma that a teacher gave to her, that trauma is anything that happens to you that violates your trust. Trauma is anything that happens to you that violates your trust. So that can really kind of give you a little bit of reflection around what all of those moments maybe in life when you felt betrayed, or you betrayed yourself and in order to make somebody else feel more comfortable, or you trusted that something was going to work out a certain way and then it didn't. And so when we find ourselves in those moments and we're sort of grasping for something to get our footing again and prevent a cascade of events and chemical responses in the body that lead us to different behaviors, because it's kind of an unsettling and spinny, it sends us into a little bit of a turbulent response. And I wanted to give some essential oils that would be helpful to that. So the first essential oil that I would recommend, if you go through a traumatic event, or even if you're just doing something that's triggering that stress response, like maybe it's facing a fear of public speaking, or I know that's something for me that I have past trauma that every time I get into a situation where I have to get up in front of a lot of people or be in a situation where I'm speaking, that sometimes those residual memories in my nervous system come up whether I like it or not. And so practices that we like yin yoga, yin meridian meditation itself can start to dislodge those traumas from the connective tissue, from the cellular memory. But if you aren't there yet, or there's still residuals, one of the things that you can use is bergamot to help detox those stress hormones out of your bloodstream much quicker, so that you can kind of get back to a stable place. I don't know if you've ever gone through a stressful conversation and you're like, wow, I kind of smell, I have stress sweat. And that's the body just trying to detox those stress hormones out. Bergamot is a citrus oil. So just breathing it in, it will go into the bloodstream, so you can use a diffuser. You want to be aware of sun sensitivity. So maybe the soles of the feet would be a safe place to put it, to get it into the bloodstream through the reflexes of the feet. On an area that's not going to see any sunlight, like the belly, or putting a drop in your water as well is a nice one for pH balancing and just detoxing those stress hormones and taking the stress off the liver, because the liver has to process all of those stress hormones. So bergamot is one that I would recommend and could be helpful. Another one that I'll name two that you could use after that or alongside that is carrot seed or cedarwood, the Himalayan cedarwood. Carrot seed is a really useful one for even after long illness, like if you had a physical trauma and you need to recover the nervous system and rebuild kidneys, adrenals. Carrot seed is a really nice tonic to the kidneys, the adrenals, the nervous system. So as a building and stabilizing, grounding essence, or essential oil, I should say, and carrot seed comes from Queen Anne's lace. It's the wild carrot seed, the original carrot, Queen Anne's lace. So really good for like if there's still some anxiety running through the system or tremors, carrot seed can be really useful. Cedarwood Himalayan, the Himalayan cedarwood, is also really useful for grounding and recovering from long-standing trauma. So if you've gone through a lot of trauma and it keeps coming and it's kind of been a chronic situation in your life, Cedarwood Himalayan can be a really useful one to recover from that. And so you could be putting these essential oils on the lower back, along the spine, on the feet. Those are great areas to get them into the nerve plexes along the spine or get them into the reflexes of the feet, and using them regularly, especially these ones like carrot seed and cedarwood for recovery. Some others that I'll recommend here, and I'm not going to do too many, I don't want to overwhelm, but Valerian root or spikenard. Spikenard's going to be a little bit gentler. Valerian root is a little bit stronger. It's pretty potent. The smell is pretty potent. But in small amounts, that can be a really useful essential oil for panic attacks and chronic anxiety. Just in small homeopathic amounts, and it can be really useful for things like OCD, ADD, ADHD, starting to stabilize and regulate. But if you're using it in too large of a dose, it can actually take you to the other side of it. So like exacerbate the situation. So small amounts. Spikenard is in the same family as Valerian, so it's gentler. So you might try that one first if you haven't worked with the Valerian root before. Really great for insomnia and sleep disorders that have developed due to trauma. It's really useful for the kidneys, the adrenals, and the liver. Also really good for dream work. So we process a lot when we are sleeping. And it can kind of feel like an energetic buildup, like a dam building up, and it can feel uncomfortable in the body and in the mind if we're not getting restful sleep and allowing our body to do the internal processing to release and process whatever traumas from this life or past while we're sleeping. And if you aren't sleeping, and another tool that you can use is yoga nidra or meditation to help your whole energetic system, your body process those traumas, and then start using an essential oil that works for you to help you move into those deeper layers of rest and sleep. The last but not least is St. John's wort. St. John's wort is really good for PTSD, really good for depression, mood enhancing, as an essential oil. So small amounts, again, go a long way. So just putting a small drop on the heart every day to start to change those internal patterns and shift the energy a bit. So St. John's Wort's associated with the sun, and it brings in that sense of illumination and helps to redirect out of the negative spiral and into some positive. So if you struggle with chronic depression, if you struggle with PTSD, St. John's Wort can be a useful essential oil to work with as a supplement to the other things that you're putting in place to start changing those stress patterns within your nervous system and within your energy body. Also really important for like the summertime blues, like we in the desert, wintertime blues or summertime blues, when you're feeling hemmed in by your life or by the environment, St. John's Wort can shift us back into a space of openness, illumination, possibility, and just kind of a sunny disposition again. So I hope that this helps you feel supported. There's many oils I could talk about, many plant spirits that I could bring in for PTSD and for recovering from trauma in general. But I hope that these few that I've shared here can bring some support in and give you an extra resource for tending to yourself and understanding what's happening in your body so that you can regulate and regain stability and a sense of yourself and get back to your amazing gifts and what you have to share with the world. Thank you so much, and please leave me a comment below. I would love to hear from you if you have had essential oils that have helped you recover from trauma and you'd like to share that here. I'd love to hear more.